Coming up next, much more right here at 5:30. Kent.
You see big road construction projects all over the state, but did you know there is a change in how they are being funded? I'm Kent Pierce. I'll tell you why it's a good thing coming up.
And coming up tonight at 6, breaking news in the Connecticut Lottery. The head of the lottery is stepping down. We are live with the latest.
Plus, liquor stores defying the law and pricing alcohol they sell their own way.
Also, a state trooper suspended and facing charges. We'll tell you about the allegations against him. Those stories and more tonight on News 8 at 6. Construction crews are making some pretty good headway now on that I-84 project in Waterbury. They are ahead of schedule.
News 8's Kim Pierce shows us how a new act passed by Congress is what's really made the difference with keeping that project going at such a fast pace.
It's one of the biggest road projects in the state right now, widening I-84 in Waterbury and making it straighter, too.
The amount of time people spend stuck here in traffic waiting and the difference it's going to make going from 2 lanes to 3 on each side is actually going to be measurable improvement in people's lives. It's going to mean jobs.
It's something everybody knew had to be done for years, but for the past decade, Congress had only been funding transportation a few months at a time.
For 10 years, we were stuck. We didn't know how to plan. We didn't know how much funding was coming.
Then at the end of last year, Congress passed the Fixing America Surface Transportation, or FAST Act.
Congress passed this bill and everybody went right to work. It's working exactly the way it's supposed to.
That's because the FAST Act funds highway projects for the next 5 years, allowing the state and construction companies to actually plan ahead. You know that the whole idea of the road construction projects is to eventually get cars to move faster on the highway. But the people in the industry say because the funding is now secure, the actual project itself can move faster and get done quicker.
It enables us with our partners in the unions to keep the people going that we need to keep going, and we can, keep the project moving ahead of schedule.
And right now, this project is 10 months ahead of schedule. One reason is mild weather, but another is the fact that everybody knows the bills will get paid.
People can place the orders, make the contracts, and move forward quickly. And so this project is moving forward very quickly, and that's exciting, of course, to all the residents who want to see it completed and get on with their lives.
Keep in mind, quickly is relative. 10 months ahead of schedule still means we're going to be dealing with the project through 2019. In Waterbury, I'm Kent Pierce, News 8.
Live, News 8 at 6 starts now.
Breaking news, the president of the Connecticut Lottery is stepping down after controversy over the 5-card cash investigation. We're live with the latest.
The state at this point should close them down and suspend their permits.
2 large Connecticut liquor and wine retailers openly defying the state's minimum pricing law.
I just find that really hard to believe that they won't take 3 minutes for a safety concern for parents.
And so parents are raising their concerns over the safety of school bus stops in one shoreline town. As we said, breaking news just moments ago, the president and CEO of the Connecticut Lottery says she is stepping down. Good evening, I'm Ann Nyberg.
I'm Scott McDonald. The announcement comes just weeks after the News 8 investigators started digging deeper into a lottery game which is now shut down. Let's get the latest from Chief Investigator David Iverson. He's live at Lottery headquarters in Rocky Hill tonight with more on this. David.
Right, Scott. Ann Noble ends her tenure as Lottery president, but she stays on as an advisor for the fee of $25,000 a month. Whether or not this has anything to do with the state's ongoing investigation into 5-card cash is a question we pose, and tonight we have the answer. But first, a look back at what we discovered here just weeks ago.
5-card cash is all new with All In.
And it's a really big deal.
The state investigation into the Connecticut Lottery's 5-card cash game is still ongoing. But News 8 uncovered new details by obtaining internal lottery records. The documents show lottery officials knew 5-card cash had security issues almost a full year before they removed it from stores. Lottery staffers even passed around this photo of what potential rigging would look like. After the game was finally pulled, lottery employees told state investigators that the issue was known by lottery officials for months.
There were inherent risks to start with.
We took the results of our investigation to a former Connecticut Lottery financial analyst. He said the lottery made a mistake by not pulling the game right away.
The prudent thing to do would be to pull the game immediately.
And last month, when we went to get answers from lottery president Ann Noble, another lottery official tried to block our camera, and the president had nothing to say.
Why does it take 11 months with a picture of what's happening for action to be taken?
Noble, to that question, said she can't talk about it because they're blaming the designer of the game, and they're in a legal dispute with them currently. Tonight at 10 and 11, we are going to talk with the man taking the place of President Noble in the interim while they look for a long-term president. We'll tell you what he had to say about our investigation tonight. For the News 8 investigators, David Iverson reporting.
And this breaking story as well. The first human case of West Nile has now been confirmed in Connecticut. The Department of Public Health says the infection happened in Milford in a resident in their 70s. That person is hospitalized with encephalitis. Mosquitoes in several towns across the state have tested positive for the virus. Anonymous serious threats made against the Department of Agriculture has prompted the closing of 6 offices indefinitely, including a facility in Hamden. USDA spokesman Matthew Herrick says the threats raise concerns about the safety of USDA personnel and the facilities in which they work. The USDA is working with the FBI and federal and local law enforcement to determine if the threats are credible. The other closed offices are in Colorado, Maryland, North Carolina, and West Virginia.
Connecticut in the midst of a liquor and wine price war. 2 major retailers openly defying Connecticut's minimum pricing rules, saying that law is unjust. The governor is not saying that they're wrong. Chief Political Correspondent Mark Davis joining us live tonight with the very latest on this. Good evening, Mark.
Hi, Scott. Good evening, everyone from the Hartford newsroom. Yeah, they couldn't get the state legislature to change this law, so now they are openly breaking it.
Total Wine, Spirits, Beer, and More, with stores in Milford, West Hartford, Manchester, and Norwalk, announced their legal challenge to the minimum pricing law a week ago today. They have since openly defied the law by advertising in newspapers, online, and on the radio that they are selling dozens of liquors and wines well below the state-mandated price. A second chain, BevMax, with stores in Hamden, West Haven, Meriden, Stamford, and Norwalk, is now doing the same thing. BevMax CEO Mike Burkhoff saying, quote, Connecticut residents deserve fair market pricing on everything they buy, whether it be food, clothing, wine, liquor, and beer.
The state at this point should close them down and suspend their permits.
The executive director of the 1,100-member Connecticut Package Stores Association says these big operators tried to get the law changed and failed, and that the minimum pricing rules protect the smaller operators from predatory big box retailers.
To come here to this state just because you're millionaires and think you can do what you want to do and the heck with everybody else, that's inappropriate.
I believe the law to be illegal. I believe we're penalizing our state residents by charging them substantially more for alcoholic beverages than our surrounding states.
The governor, who is known to enjoy a glass of Chardonnay, has tried and failed to get the minimum pricing law repealed 4 years in a row. The governor is also a lawyer and declined today to condemn what is clearly an open defiance of state law, suggesting the violations may be part of a legal strategy.
Either you properly challenge the law or you abide by it. This may be the way they're setting that challenge up.
But his administration must enforce the law, and News 8 has learned that the Liquor Enforcement Division of the Consumer Protection Department is proceeding quickly to investigate the violations.
Now, violators traditionally have 21 days in which to respond to complaints from the division, which means that a hearing on these violations could occur sometime towards the end of next month, as late next month. Live from the Hartford newsroom, Mark Davis, News 8.
Turning to the forecast now with a live look at New Haven tonight. Looks pretty good out there. Fred is standing by. Fred, if you like summer heat and you like the cool fall temperatures, you're going to get a little of both this week?
Yeah, you will be, actually. First, you'll get some more warm weather tomorrow, and then we have a cool down heading our way for later in the work week. Temperatures are in the mid-80s still. Up in Hartford County, upper 70s to low 80s right now at the shoreline. We're starting to see some humidity come in along the shoreline. Still pretty dry, though, as you head inland. And in general, the muggy weather will be increasing over the next 12 to 18 hours or so. Skies are mainly clear right now. You're seeing some thin clouds out there. We're going to see some low clouds and maybe even a little bit of fog developing by late tonight. Mainly clear, though, this evening, upper 60s to low 70s by late in the evening. And then you can see by 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's a cloudy to mostly cloudy start, mid-60s inland, right around 70 at the shoreline. No weather worries for us tonight into tomorrow. It will be warm in spite of those clouds tomorrow. We're watching the tropics. Tropical Depression 8 should head out to sea well to our south, not a concern. TD9, however, the one that's in the Gulf of Mexico, that one is going to strengthen into a tropical storm, and the track of it next week is off the east coast and a little bit closer than it was at this time yesterday. I'll tell you all about that and if there's going to be any potential impact here in Connecticut coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks so much. Starting the school year off right, we'll tell you what students in New Haven received today to make sure they are ready for class.
Parents in this shoreline town are wondering if the school department is sacrificing safety for efficiency. We'll let you know why they're so concerned coming up.
New tonight at 6, a state trooper suspended after allegations that he threatened a woman. State police say 44-year-old David Green is an 18-year veteran of the force assigned to Troop E in Montville. Troopers say they responded to a call on Mystic Road in North Stonington on Saturday, and a woman said she was threatened. Green taken into custody without incident.
A Plainfield teacher is facing charges after police say he engaged in inappropriate behavior with a student. Authorities say 26-year-old Ryan Clare turned himself in to authorities this morning. Police launched an investigation in April after learning about an incident involving an underage student. He was put on administrative leave and has since resigned. He'll be in court next month.
Some parents concerned about the safety of some shoreline school bus stops. We're going to speak with parents who are trying to change where those stops are located.
And a tropical system off of Cape Hatteras right now. Over the weekend, there's likely to be another one. I'll tell you if I think it'll have an impact in Connecticut over the holiday weekend coming up.
It is back to school season right now. If they haven't started already, kids will soon be waiting for the bus to pick them up. But some parents in Guilford say some bus stops are in dangerous areas. No sidewalks and drivers just speeding by like we just saw. One of those stops is near the intersection of 3 streets, Squaw Lane by Nortontown Road and Forest Brook Road. News 8's Tina Dittel spoke with parents who want a safer place to wait for the bus.
This is the way a lot of the roads here in Guilford are. No sidewalks, no street lights, and a bit windy. So when the school department changed some of the bus stops, forcing some kids to walk along them, parents got concerned.
In no more than 10 minutes, there were no more than 49 cars that passed by.
Jory Smith's 8-year-old son Tanner and his neighbor 9-year-old Jack McDonald will now wait at the end of their street, Forest Brook Road, for their bus. They used to get picked up right in front of their houses. Smith supports clustering bus stops, but not near this 3-way intersection.
They'll essentially be standing in the road and then a blind corner. So it's very scary for me.
The superintendent of schools tells News 8 while looking at school start times, they also looked at making the bus routes more efficient. Clustering stops near main roads was one way to do it.
The students aren't expected to go out and wait on the busy road, but when the bus comes up to that intersection and stops traffic, even on the busy thoroughfare, then the students would get on the buses there.
No one has ever said that to us yet.
One parent on Lake Drive was so concerned she started a petition calling for change, and apparently it worked.
We have already been out and visited stops where people have concerns. We have made some adjustments.
But no changes yet for these folks.
It would take literally less than 3 minutes for them to come down this road.
He's 8 and he's a boy, and I'm concerned.
Come Wednesday morning, children will be standing at this bus stop as the cars go by. Now, the superintendent says it's not over yet, nothing set in stone. If there are more concerns, contact the school department. In Guilford, Tina Dittel, News 8.
They're starting the new school year on the right foot. Hundreds of students in New Haven were given a leg up by getting a new backpack filled with all kinds of supplies. This happened today at the Ross Woodward Classical Studies Magnet School in the city. The Patchwork organization donating more than 700 backpacks to children in the city get to go back to school with style. Superintendent Garth Harris says they want to help send a message to students that the entire community is invested in education. Harris says teachers are also being invested with symposiums and classes.
We introduced new teachers to New Haven to cultural competence and social justice thinking so they could understand better the experience of our students.
And the first day of school is September the 1st. And don't forget to send us your back to school photos and stories. Send them to reported@WTNH.com or use the app on your smartphone and follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
All right, Fred is here. Time to start checking the bus stop forecast and how warm you want to bundle up.
Yeah, I don't have it in this particular forecast, but next couple of days, shorts, t-shirts will work for those days. Maybe an umbrella, though, for you on that first day of school on Thursday morning in New Haven. Let's check things out right now. 70s to low 80s out there. Some thin clouds drifting through. Skies will be mainly clear for most of tonight. Then some low clouds will develop late at night. And as we look at hour by hour over the next couple of days, here we are tomorrow afternoon. Notice clouds streaming in. A warm day in spite of the cloud cover. We end this record warm month of August, at least at the shoreline, with more relatively warm weather. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible by late tomorrow evening. A few showers may linger around for us on Thursday. It does not look like a widespread soaking rain, though, so probably not much in the way of drought relief for us. This front helping to steer that tropical system out into the Atlantic Ocean, the one that's sitting right now near Cape Hatteras. And on Friday, dry air starts to come pouring in. We're going to see some nighttime low temperatures in the 50s as we start the Labor Day weekend. Here's what's going on right now in the Atlantic. You can see the huge eye on Tropical Storm Hurricane Gaston as that one moves out into the Atlantic. 2 tropical depressions, 8 up there near Cape Hatteras and 9, which is looking a little healthier as it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. Both have winds right now of 35 miles per hour. First storm we'll track will be the first tropical depression that'll likely turn into a tropical storm and pass out to sea Wednesday night into Thursday midday and not have an impact in Connecticut. The second tropical system, though, however, likely becoming a tropical storm as well, moving across Florida and may hug the southeastern coast. Looks like it's heading out to sea, but a late turn to the north and then possibly even the northwest is possible with this system. This track is a lot closer to the New England coastline than it was at this time yesterday from the hurricane center. So this bears some watching. The trend today definitely closer to the eastern seaboard with more of an impact. The storm will be blocked by an area of high pressure that'll be up over Nova Scotia. Whether that area of high pressure is strong enough to send the storm back to the New England coast is still very questionable. So I'd say at this point, odds are it stays out to sea, but it could end up being a pretty close call. Forecast for tonight. Some clouds coming in late at night, 67 at the shoreline, 64 inland. A lot of clouds around tomorrow. Warm nonetheless, 83 at the shoreline, 87 inland. A muggy end to August. On Long Island Sound, a southwesterly breeze. It'll be light at 5 to 10 knots. Seas of 1 to 3 feet. Some of those swells coming in from all those tropical systems in the Atlantic Ocean. Here's your shoreline 8-day forecast. A little showery to start the day on Thursday, brighter by late in the day. Friday, right through the Labor Day weekend, looks quiet. If that storm were to have an impact in Connecticut, it would likely be late Monday into the middle of next week. So that is a long way away. The storm's still in the Gulf of Mexico, still not a tropical storm, so there's plenty of time to fine-tune that forecast. Right now, the Labor Day weekend still looks fine.
All right. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
Thanks
definitely.
so much.
Time for sports. Here's Eric.
Live, this is Sports Edge, sponsored by your local Connecticut Chevy dealers.
Less contact, shorter practices at all levels. Administrators and coaches are trying to make the game of football safer. As Henry Chisholm reports, the Notre Dame West Haven High School football team has some new technology that is trying to keep its players out of harm's way.
There's no way around it. If you play football, you're going to get hit in the head. Tackle it. With that in mind, Notre Dame West Haven is taking steps to find out just what's happening to their players when they get hit. Their helmets have a sensor from Riddell called Insight that registers just how hard a player has been hit.
We're interested in seeing how it works.
And here's how. The sensor registers the hit. Good. The trainers each have a device that looks a little bit like a remote where they can see what Insight has picked up and determine if a player needs to take the helmet off and sit down.
Sometimes if it's a hit that's a secondary hit or something like that, you might be able to miss it, and this technology may help us.
Coach Marcucci says the sensors have been quiet during camp. They haven't gone off once.
High school practice nowadays, there's a lot less hitting.
The Green Knights are hoping this really pays dividends under the lights.
Now in the games, we'll be able to tell who's getting hit too much and what we can do during practice to make sure everyone's safe, which is how the game should be played.
Marcucci says veteran players at high-impact positions like linebackers and linemen will have helmets with insight.
Our helmets are all the same. I think the misconception is that the helmet is different. The guys without the sensors, the helmet is the same. It's just another tool to use.
In West Haven for the Sports Edge, I'm Henry Chisholm.
Time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk basketball. Former UConn star Morgan Tuck trying to adjust to her new life as a pro. That story when we return. The Connecticut Sun returned to the court tonight. Rookie Morgan Tuck hoping for a strong finish to her season, although she hasn't played much in the first 2 games back from the Olympic break. Definitely a big adjustment for her coming from UConn to the Sun. At UConn, she was a star and helped the team win 4 straight national championships. After 26 games as a pro, what's the biggest difference between life in Stores and now in Uncasville?
Overall, people make a bigger deal of college basketball. At UConn, all of our games were almost sold out, and we're on TV, almost every other game. And then WNBA, it's not the same. But the thing I think that is a lot different is the competition level. That every night we're playing against the best people in the world, and that's something that's very different from college.
Very different. Tuck and the Sun take on former UConn teammate Mariah Jefferson in San Antonio tonight at the Mohegan Sun Arena. We'll have highlights, post-game reaction, all that fun stuff tonight on Sports Edge.
That's interesting, though. You get more exposure playing for UConn than you do in the WNBA.
But you get paid when you play in the WNBA. Big difference.
Very good answer. Yeah. All right, Fred. Check the final weather.
Yes, what I'm checking on right now is actually that this is going to be the warmest meteorological summer on record in Bridgeport and the second warmest in Windsor Locks. So it has been remarkable this summer. This is easily the warmest August on record at the shoreline. And as we head into September, it cools a little bit. The weekend forecast still looks dry. You'll notice Saturday and Sunday temperatures in the upper 70s, comfortable at night with lows in the 50s. On Monday, as you can see there, we say watching tropics. So we're keeping an eye on that tropical system, which is in the Gulf of Mexico right now. Some of the latest computer projections bring it a little bit closer to us late in the Labor Day weekend, most likely Monday night to Tuesday. Odds are, though, that it stays offshore and we stay with dry weather and a high near 80.
Let's hope that happens.
Yeah.
Really bouncing around there. Maybe a good idea to download that Storm Team 8 app.
Oh, yeah,
get it right there.
Have it already.
Easier than getting Fred's cell phone number for personalized forecasts.
Oh, I have it. Would you like it?
Yes. All right, that's our time. Thanks for watching. News, weather, traffic anytime online at WTNH.com.